at any time for any reason. All right, looks like 10 pins on the deck. Scoring numbers are up. Bowling fans, how about a great send-off for the final round of qualifying? I thank you. Good luck.
We'll just kind of pace ourselves. This way.
Good afternoon and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Bowl TV. My name is Matt Canizaro, and we are here. I am here to bring you the final squad of qualifying here at the 2018 USBC Senior Masters. We're at Samstown Bowling Center in Las Vegas. And behind lanes 19 and 20, 21 and 22, as we have been all week long. This is day 3. We've now seen 15 games each day. This is our B squad bowlers. They bowled in the middle of the day on Tuesday. They bowled on the fresh yesterday morning, and now here they are on the double burn of this 41-foot oil pattern. The final bowlers, the final push. And in 5 games, we will know the 63 players who will join defending champion Walter A. Williams Jr. in match play. That gets underway tomorrow morning. We're looking forward to that excitement, but still a long way to go until we know for sure. A lot of nervous bowlers already done competing, walking around to see if they got enough. And then, of course, there's some who bowled so well that they're hopefully out having a nice dinner and relaxing, getting some rest for tomorrow's match play round. So, with that said, let's take a look first at the standings so we know what we're dealing with. And just for those unfamiliar with the event or the format, all competitors this week, and that number was 272, will have bowled 15 games over 3 days, 5 games a day. The oil pattern, again, is 41 feet, 29 mils, provided by our official lane maintenance provider, Kegel. Using the Kegel Ice Oil this year. The lanes are oiled once a day. That's it. So the first squad is fresh, and then, of course, the bowlers rotate through, bowl at a different time each day so they can see each variation. The fresh burn and double burn. If they have a strongest one, that's where they're going to want to get all their pins, of course. And then if they have one that they just need to grind along just to get there to the finish line. And then some, of course, have proven that they are versatile and can handle all 3 variations with ease. Regardless, once today is over, all bowlers will have bowled 15 games, and 15-game total pinfall will determine who advances. We're taking the top 63 from the field of 272. Walter A. Williams Jr., the defending champ, automatically seeded into match play. He's guaranteed at least the number 64 seed. And should he qualify higher, which he likely will, he is bowling on this squad, he will earn that higher seed going into match play. So right now he is well in the top 64, so the cut number we're looking at is that 64 number. And right now, that number is plus 121, a 208 average for 15 games. David Allen holds that spot. However, of course, there's a third of the field bowling right now, so that number could go up or down each game here. Jeff Suma, who is on this squad, also is at plus 121. Daryl Bauer, also on this squad, is at plus 118. So while 2/3 of the numbers won't change, there's bowlers who will be moving into the cut and falling out of the cut as these 5 games progress. And those who are just inside the number or just outside the number are going to be nervously and impatiently pacing the halls of Samstown, waiting to see what that number will be. So we'll do our best from our spot here behind lanes 19 through 22 to keep tabs on what's happening. We had some volunteers already willing to help run numbers and give us an idea of what that number might be. And then, of course, the tournament staff will work as diligently as possible to get that number quickly. And in the event there needs to be a roll-off for a final spot, that will happen. So we'll hang out on the air following the 5th game today and wait for the official numbers and information. Our leader at this point, C Squad, dominating the standings here. They would have bowled on this double burn the first day, and then in the middle of the day yesterday, and then on the fresh this morning. C Squad, the overall leader, James Campbell, at plus 571, averaging 238. He was followed closely by Brian LeClaire, and then not so closely by Noel Vasquez. LeClaire was at plus 527, and Vasquez was at plus 384 in 3rd place. Bryant Goebel plus 363, and Lito Monticelli, our 2015 Senior Masters champ, at plus 361. Of course, none of that matters once we get to tomorrow. We do have a score update here. Updating what was unofficial after the last squad. So James Campbell still 571. Brian LeClaire at 527. Michael Haugen Jr. stuck into 3rd place on A squad at plus 386. Then Vasquez, Pete Weber up to plus 369 in 5th. Brian Goebel plus 363. Darren Peters made a move on the last squad, plus 361. He is tied with Monticelli. Keith Lesko is 10th at plus 351, and Alan Seneval rounds out the top 10 at plus 349. Again, none of that remotely matters, as all pinfall will drop going into match play, and then simply it's 1 versus 64, 2 versus 63, 3 versus 62, and so on. So there'll be 2 bowlers on 1 pair of lanes, and whatever happens during the practice session, practice 10 minutes of practice, warm up, then they'll go at it head to head right there. So whether you're number 1 or 64, at that point, anything can happen, and we've seen it happen over the years and last year. So that is the rundown. And based on the update, we'll take one more look at the cut number, and still it is 121, and there's a tie. Still a couple bowlers just outside and a few inside who should be pretty nervous right now. They've done all they can do, so now it's the waiting game. Here in our featured pairs this game, Tony Rodriguez Jr., Lloyd Hayer, Vic Karpowski, and John Austin Jr. That's 19 and 20. And on 21 and 22, Robert Newman, David Graber, Al Svensson, and Don Lane. Karpowski coming into the day minus 190. Tony Rodriguez plus 32, so a nice big day. Get him into that number. Plus 32, and off to a hot start here, spare 4-bagger, so picking up a quick 50 or 60 or more here. That would be great for the confidence for sure going into the last 4 games. John Austin Jr. minus 197. So the rest of today likely will be a learning experience. One more for Rodriguez. Graber in a similar boat at minus 211 coming in. Svensson at plus 62. 96th place right now. Definitely could get there. Bob Newman minus 100. John Lane is at minus 200. So, a couple bowlers with a lot of work to do. Rodriguez off to a great start in that direction. We've got the live scoring going here. If you want to find that, bowl.com/Senior Masters. And that will help you keep an eye on what's going on. It's going to help us for sure, especially as we get closer to the end of the block. We'll speculate the best we can. All unofficially, of course. It's all unofficial until it's official. First day of qualifying, we saw some great scores come off of this squad. The double burn. Then yesterday, the big numbers came off the middle squad. All right, the hot start continues now for Rodriguez. Who had a nice run, I believe, last year. I'm going to look that up. And can't get the 10 to go, but slow roller. Down on 39 and 40, Nelson Sand off to a hot start with the front 7. And his string ends there with a 6 count in the 8th. All right, so looking back at last year's bracket, looking at the elimination bracket, the 4-player shootout at the end that determines the last 3 seeds for the step ladder. The top 2 seeds determined by the last 2 bowlers in the winner's bracket. They bowl each other, and the winner is number 1. The loser of that match is the number 2 seed. However, the players who advanced through the last 4 players in the elimination bracket have a 4-player shootout. 3 advance to the TV finals, earning 3, 4, and 5 seeds based on that 3-game set. Tony Rodriguez was the low man out of the shootout last year, so definitely some motivation coming in to get back to match play. And from that star-studded shootout round, Norm Duke advanced. He earned the number 3 seed, shooting .817. Bob Learn Jr. was number 4. He shot 734 in the shootout. And Andy Nyer, the eventual runner-up to Walter Ray Williams Jr., shot 649 to earn the final spot in the step ladder. Tony Rodriguez 618 to finish 6th at the 2017 Senior Masters. So there you have it. Rancho Cucamonga, California. Tony Rodriguez earned $3,500 for his 6th place finish. And Rodriguez coming into this round plus 32. So needing to be at least plus 100 for this 5-game block. You see, telling himself to calm down, stay slow, steady, whatever the exact terminology is, but relax, throw a good shot. And he'll be in the 260s here in the opening game. Hrabowski 178, John Austin, what's he could do, 181. This will get Rodriguez to plus 100. And 269. So he goes to plus 101 with 4 games to go. Great position. Cut number coming in around plus 120. Those guys with only 3 on the pair, so a little bit ahead, especially with all those strikes from Rodriguez. 21 and 2, moving along. So we'll keep an eye on them. Of course, we'll have game 2 coming up in just a few minutes. Alright, so these guys are your favorite players. Enjoy these last final frames, and then they'll be on the move. New players coming our way. We'll introduce them here in just a few minutes, folks. You are watching continued coverage of the 2018 USBC Senior Masters live at Sam's Town in Las Vegas. Gonna get pretty exciting in here over the next couple hours. Thanks for being here. We'll be right back with game number 2. everybody. Thank you again for being here for the final day of qualifying at the 2018, I don't even know what year it is anymore, 2018 USBC Senior Masters. My name is Matt Canizaro, and we are live at Sam's Town Bowling Center in Las Vegas. We'll check shortly for a scoring update. It's not quite ready yet. We're just now getting into game number 2 here of our final squad. We're 4 games away from knowing who the 64 players will be, or at least the 63 who will be joining Walter A. Williams Jr., our defending champ in match play. We're in our featured pairs this game. We have Michael Clements, Jeff Brown, Steve Stein, and Darrell Bauer. He's 19 and 20. And over on 21 and 22, Mark McCreary, John Shavanik, Klaus Liska, and Barry Zimmerman. Smaller crowd online right now, but still early. Won't get exciting now for another couple of hours. $272 players battling, fighting, clawing for 63 available spots in match play. It's a little less than 1 in 4. 1 in 4 will cash at this event though, so 68 prize checks. But only 64 spots in the double elimination bracket. That will begin tomorrow at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. here in Las Vegas. If you want to come see it in person, we'll have the giant bracket board updated this evening for all 64 hopeful names. Left side of the bracket will hit the lanes first. Then we'll re-oil, and the right side will get to it, and then we'll roll through match play for the rest of Friday and all day Saturday until the exciting shootout round at the end of the day. That will determine our final finalists for Sunday's championship round. That'll take place live here on Bowl TV at 1 p.m. Eastern. All right, game 2 rolling on. Score update coming right now. Maybe. Just waiting on the PDF to load. We'll have that here in a moment. In the meantime, check back in with our competitors here. Steve Stein. Looking for a 3-bagger, and he gets it. Slaps the 10. Good question in the chat room. Will there be any more events next week at Sam's Town? And there will not be. We wrap up here on Sunday, but the PBA 50 Tour rolls on down the street. They'll be at Suncoast. Suncoast for the Senior US Open. So one of the tougher weeks of the season. Long format, match play, all that good stuff. And the PBA folks will be live streaming that. believe, on their new platform, so check out pba.com for details there. And if you're in the neighborhood, which I believe you might be, then go and check that out. Check the schedule at pba.com as well. Great shot there by Clements. See some adrenaline or caffeine or something. He's making moves here. He's got 5 out of 6 here in game 2. Down on 9 and 10. David Terrell has the front 6. We'll keep an eye on that. according to our on-site leaderboard, the cut number right now is plus 125. We do have standings. High bowler on the B squad still, Daniel Miyamoto. He's in 18th place at plus 236. Brian Kretzer next at plus 228. Parker Bowe in the third, plus 225. Walter Ray Williams Jr. plus 224. 64th position is plus 125. Dennis Horan Jr., who is bowling on this squad. Followed in the standings by 6 C squad bowlers, including Tish Johnson, who's at plus 112. Daryl Bauer here in our featured pair is 61st at plus 133. He started at 215 today. About on the same pace here in game 2. Michael Clements in 43rd place at plus 167. Jeff Brown, minus 306. Steve Stein, minus 187. Mark McCreary is at minus 1. Can get to 238 this game. Lishka at minus 239. Shabanic at plus 89, so within striking distance. Can get to 226 this game. And Zimmerman is at plus 41, so a lot of work to do, but definitely not out of reach. Getting ready for our final frame now. 19 and 20, Steve Stein. Can get to 214. So Stein can get to 204 here. Clements is well in the number, but pick up some sticks here. His first hit in the 10th, 227 max score. Lishka can get to 185. Curry had 205. Shavonic gets the first one in the 10th, 226 max for him. A few of these guys looking to tack on some sticks for safety. Pretty sweet jersey there for John as well. The Houston Astros, of course, big season they had last year. Very emotional with the hurricane rolling through. And then, of course, winning the World Series at the right time. A much needed, uplifting victory for the city. Now, John looking for the same thing here at the Senior Masters.
Water up here, I'm ready.
All right, hope everybody is settled in and comfortable. This is game number 3 now on our final qualifying block at the 2018 USBC Senior Masters. Getting closer and closer to finding out who our 63 players will be, joining Walter Ray Williams Jr., our defending champ, in match play starting tomorrow at noon Eastern. On our featured pairs this game, we've got some familiar faces and some unfamiliar faces. Either way, let's introduce you to them. Here at 19 and 20, we've got Michael Barth. Louis Moretti, who said his family might be tuning in. So if you are, give us a shout in the chat room and let Louis know that you are watching. Also on this pair, Stony Baker from Georgia, a past champion in the PBA South region. And Parker Bone III, PBA and USBC Hall of Famer. The #1 seed last year, heading into match play here at the Senior Masters. Parker been a little bit under the radar this week, just kind of getting things done. Definitely see him in the bracket tomorrow. Last year, led qualifying, and his reward was taking on Brian Voss in the opening round of match play. Voss shot 774 at him, and even with the big 700. Voss sent Parker to the elimination bracket right away. Here's PB3 now with the first three on 19 and 20. See how I predicted that? Because I've known Parker Bone long enough that he likes to throw strikes. People like to see strikes. Then over on 21 and 22, Robert Reed, Max Telebarger, Scott Fiorillo, and Johnny Manzella. Looks like might have standings available. Definitely do on site. And that cut number keeps creeping up a little bit. Got 15 games for A and C squads, 12 games for our B squad bowlers on the lanes right now. The high B squad bowler after 12 games is Brian Kretzer at plus 264. So mathematically, the best he could get to is 564. And second place, and that would require shooting 900 the last 3 games. So again, totally irrelevant, but just for news purposes, James Campbell will be the #1 seed going into match play here at the 2018 Senior Masters. Brian Kretzer high on the squad, plus 264. Daniel Miyamoto, plus 263. PB3, Parker Bone is 20th overall, and next on B squad at plus 240. We went 216, 215 so far today. And now his run at perfection ends in the 4th frame with the 7th pin. He's at plus 240, followed by Charlie Standish, plus 237. Doug Kent, plus 231. And the all-important cut number right now, plus 129, Marv Sargent. And we saw him on the first squad of the day today. Well, 290 right here on our featured pair. Started the day -4, and then shot 1133 to get to plus 129. So he's the number, tied with Rick Brenori. We saw Rick hanging around already. I'm sure Marv will be walking around soon, especially as he gets word that that number is creeping up a little bit. Started at 121, then 125, and now 129. Just outside the number. Bowling on this squad, Darryl Bauer is at plus 127, so 2 pins out. Jeff Suma, plus 126. Stony Baker, right here in our featured pairs, at plus 114. Clean through 4 frames, looking to double up here. He is 15 pins back. Steve Badavinik making a run. Started the day even. And he is plus 111. 244, 267 here on the double burn. So trying to keep that momentum going. How about that? Steve's a good guy. Works very hard at bowling and was a recent Team USA member. Our defending champion, Walter Ray Williams Jr., tied for 29th at plus 216. Guaranteed the number 64 spot should he do better. Then he would earn whatever seed and head right into match play. In the old days, or at least my old days, the defending champ did not bowl qualifying and automatically got seated in at number 32. The last time I recall that happening was either 2008 or 2009. And now the defending champ must bowl qualifying, but is guaranteed at least a number 64 spot. So nice trade-off. Then you get 15 games on the tournament pattern. You get to see the transition firsthand. You get to try some different things. And of course, you get to try to improve.
Run set last shot.
All right, so halfway now through our third game. We've changed our leaderboard now. It just simply says what the cut number is. 3 games to go. It is plus 129. Crystal clear. That's all anybody's worried about at this point. Tracking down a spot in the top 64. For those of you who may not have just been watching, I don't know that I've ever seen a 10 pin for a left-hander like the one that Parker Bone just left on lane 19. So if you have to rewind and take another look at it, that's pretty wild. Incredible shot and absolute ring stone crazy 10 pin for the left-hander. All right, 10th frame now underway here on our featured pairs. Fiorillo can get to 180 over on 21 and 22. Robert Reed has 207 out there. Michael Barth will close things out first on 19 and 20, 166 max score. Stony Baker can get to 213. Parker Bone shot at 239. And Moretti, 168 max. Again, this is game 3 of 5. Cut score right now is plus 129. If you want to see the standings, visit bowl.com/senior masters. And there's PDFs for all rounds. This to be in the important one. It has a combined for all 3 squads, and you'll be able to see exactly what the number is right now. Plus 129. Who's close, who's in, who's out. Pretty exciting stuff as we get down to the last 2 games coming up next. right. Manzella up on 21. 237 possible. That one goes high, leaves the 610. Drops that number to 215. Moretti and Stony Baker will finish up. Parker Bone will step up. We'll have game number 4 coming up here in just a few minutes, folks. Thank you again for tuning in. It's been an interesting and fun week here. 3 days of qualifying at the Senior Masters, Samstown Bowling Center in Las Vegas. Appreciate all the support and help here on site. Tom Pippinger and the great staff here at Samstown. Of course, the hard-working crew in the tournament office. Eamon Sirocco, Greg Moore, Chip and Robin McKee, and all of the volunteers here this week to run scores and keep everything running smoothly. Translate Kegel for 41-foot oil pattern and a great machinery to be able to put it out fairly and exactly the same every single day. Our official lane maintenance provider. And while you're here, folks, remember, we've got a lot coming up on Bowl TV in the coming months, from our senior event here to the PWBA right around the corner, Professional Women's Bowling Association, Junior Gold, and some international events. So remember to subscribe to Bowl TV. And if you are enjoying the coverage here at the Senior Masters and would like to see it again in 2019, give us a thumbs up right there under your video window. One click, and lets us know that, hey, people are going to watch this if we do it again. We'd be glad to. Numbers don't lie. If the people say they want it, that certainly helps our case for making the trip. Next year, it'll only be potentially down the street if we're back here at Samstown, as I should be over at South Point Bowling Plaza for the USBC Open Championship. So keep that in mind. Appreciate all those thumbs up coming right there. And now, thumbs up to Parker Bone. Going to the bag, going to try something different here for the fill ball. He's in great shape for making the top 64. Now it's just a matter of getting comfortable, seeing how all the equipment's going to roll. Probably won't see this much traffic on the lanes. We're going on the double burn right now. But don't know that the lanes will get too toasty along the way with just a couple of people on each pair for match play. But you never know. It's good to have options and know what each ball is going to do. Parker finishes with 239. Final shot coming up here for Moretti, and then we'll be ready to meet our new players for game number 4. Looking forward to it, folks. We'll see you back here in just a few minutes. Tell your friends. 2 games left. Don't miss it. Let's meet our players now for game number 4. As we wait for the updated standings and cut number after 13 games. Here on 19 and 20, we've got Randy Turner, the left-hander, Fred Howsham, Michael Hastings, and Doug O'Brien. And over on 21 and 22, David Tyrell, Ben Nakagawa, James Bills, and Joe Salvemini. Hey, James was in the chat room earlier, watching some bowling, prior to his squad. Now here he is, live and in person. As soon as those standings are available and we get the new number, we'll share it with you. right, taking a look at the standings after 13 games here on B Squad, final squad of the day. Not much changed in the top 10. Actually, nothing changed, but high B Squad player right now, Daniel Miyamoto, plus 320. Had 257 last game, 685 total for 3 games today. Ryan Kretzer, Parker Bone, both in the top 20. Defending champ Walter Ray Williams Jr. Shot 239 last game, 45 over today, 255 overall. He was 20th. But that all-important number once again has jumped. Cut number right now is plus 140. Tony Rodriguez, we saw him in our opening game, continuing to bowl well. 709 for his first 3, jumps up to the number 62 spot with 2 to go. Also a nice day so far from Ricky Schisler. He is plus 99 on the day, 144 overall, in 60th position. David Terrell has made some moves here in the final day. 668 for 3 is at plus 149. Doug O'Brien right here on our featured pair. Bryant at plus 163, 25 over today. Steve Badavinik, his success continues, 767. Jumps all the way to 49th place now at plus 167. Charlie Standish, plus 130 on the day. 254 overall. Jumps to 22nd place. Chris Warren, 100 over today. He's at plus 201 overall. Chris Keene, 100 over today. He's at plus 171. Really the big mover right now is Badavinik. Another solid game like we've seen, and should be comfortably in the top 64 with 1 to go. So again, a tie at plus 140, that's the number. Neither one of those bowlers on this squad, so those are dead numbers at this point. First one out, Brian Kendall, plus 135. And second one out on this squad, Daryl Bauer is at plus 130. So 10 pins out with 2 games to go. And then our tie, Marv Sargent and Rick Brignori at plus 129. Pretty exciting stuff here as we get down to it. Joe Salvemini, there on 21 and 22, is minus 42. Going into this string of strikes here. Might not be enough game left for him. It's all just math. Daryl Bauer down on 7 and 8. He's got 4 out of 5. Trying to jump back into the top 64. Like we got a front 9 to go take a peek at on 27 and 28, so I'm going to head that way. Again, we haven't had many highlights today. People like 300, so I'm going to go address that. Leave you with it here in just a minute. Looks like the only excitement, so I'm going to take a short walk, stretch the legs. You guys enjoy, and I'll be right back. rolling to a close here at Samstown. Chris Warren is the bowler who had the front 9. He left a swish 7 on his 10th shot. No 300 this game. And with one chance left, we've had one perfect game this week at the Senior Masters during qualifying. It was Rick Minear of Houston. 299 by Mark Williams. 290 this morning by Marv Sargent right here in our featured pair. Things tend to heat up during match play. You get a little different traffic pattern. Guys who obviously figured out the best way to play the lanes. So they're going to be definitely transitioning differently. You see some pretty high scoring matches at times, especially when you take two guys who have the opportunity to break the lanes down a little bit in practice, maybe even working together to make them as scoreable as possible, but all part of the game and the strategy. They'll bowl all 3 games on one pair of lanes, plus the intensity of the moment tends to lead to some bigger scores. So we'll see. We'll have it all for you live here on Bowl TV starting tomorrow at noon Eastern. And then that'll be the left-hand side of the bracket, and then the right-hand side will get fresh oil and compete at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. That'll be 11:30 here in Las Vegas. After this, one game to go. We're going to chase numbers. We got some folks willing to help us out. Have live scoring. We'll see what's exciting out there. First update coming in right now. So we've got an update here. Ricky Schisler, who's in 60th position right now at plus 144, is looking to be in the 150s or 160s max. So he's going to lose 40 pins, so he'll go down to barely plus 100. He'll fall out of the number. And then Daryl Bauer, who is 10 pins out, bowling on this squad, cannot shoot 200, so he's going to lose 10 or 20 pins. He'll stay out of the number, but with Schisler coming out for sure, that will give Brian Kendall the opportunity to move in. But there'll be some moving and shaking for sure, and it really will matter a little bit more in about 8 more frames. But it's always fun to get the blood going here, the excitement of the impending cut number. Daryl Bauer down on 7 and 8. We get to 191 as a max score. Schisler on 9 and 10. 166 will be his max. Steve Banavidic will be around 200 this game, but he is up there in the 40s now. Chris Keene bowling well again. Get to 212. Already strike in the 10th. Doug O'Brien there with the miscue in the 10th. The open frame missed a single pin. That was James Campbell stopping by in the middle of the story. I was talking about Doug O'Brien, missed a single pin. He shot 236 still, so he's well above that cut number, but you never want to give away pins, especially on fundamentals, but he'll go on to the next game and he'll be inside the top 64 with the game to go. But that was James Campbell stopping by. He will be the #1 seed, mathematically guaranteed. Now he's just waiting to see who he will face in the first round of match play tomorrow. And that will start at noon Eastern, so he's on the left side of the bracket. They'll get underway right away. The right side will wait and come in at 2:30 Eastern. So it's a pretty cool feeling to be the #1 seed. He said he just wanted to make match play again and have some redemption opportunity from last year's 0-2 exit. And now he will have that. Also pick up a nice little piece of hardware to take home as a souvenir before match play begins. So looking forward to that. Great story there. James Campbell coming back to really serious competitive bowling after a few years backing away to spend time with his family and his son playing baseball in high school, college, and then a year with the Atlanta Braves organization. So now that all that is concluded, James hitting the PBA 50 route here pretty hard, and we'll see what he can do tomorrow in our #1 seed. And we'll start the countdown here in just a couple of minutes now. Our final game about to get underway. Standings will be updated momentarily, and we will begin trying to guess what that number is going to be, folks. We'll be right back. Game 15, final game of qualifying, 3 days done, coming right up. All right, we got the man on the street there, Bruce Hall, running some scores and giving us some updates from across the bowling center, maybe ahead of the live scoring. But now we're in for our final game. This is it, the last push for all of our competitors, and for many, time to say goodbye. But one last hurrah here, and for these guys here on Bowl TV, family at home gets to watch. Dan Guerrieri, John Marsala, Donald Robinson, and Michael Calvin swinging by 19 and 20. And over on 21 and 2. Chris Warren made a run at 300 last game. Had the front nine before a 7-pin ended that run. Sean Kaus, Kerry Fulford, and Nelson Sand be our final players here. And as soon as we get the updated standings and a number, let's get the newspaper out here. Start taking some notes. And that number with 2 to go was at plus 140. Just going to be a few minutes now. Score runners got their wheels on today. Bringing those sheets on in each game. Anybody have any guesses what the number's going to be? Would you have guessed at the beginning of the week that it's going to end up being upwards of plus 150? Still keeping an eye on the standings. And there's the update. So we'll get the calculator out here. It's the pivotal moment of the Senior Masters. 15 games of qualifying. It's all coming down to these final moments. We scroll directly down to that cut line. It stayed at plus 140. How about that? It did not move. Did not move, so Ricky Schisler had 145, dropped all the way down to plus 89, and out of the cut number. David Tyrell able to hang in at plus 145, going on B squad right now. Johnny Manzella, we saw him a minute ago on our featured pair, shot 227. He is now tied for the number 3, tied at plus 140. Toby Contreras David Chu, and Johnny Manzella. One from each squad. So, if it stayed this way, there would be a 3-player roll-off. And the low man would be out. Now looking at the numbers, B squatters, Michael Tucker is at plus 127 bowling right now. So we'll just go up a little bit. Chris Keene on this squad is at plus 172. He is in 50th place. Stoney Baker is at plus 154. David Tyrell is at plus 145. Manzella is out of the number. Is the number, sorry about that. So he can determine his fate here if he goes up. And there's still a tie. That'll be for the 64th spot. And if he falls out, then those guys both would be in. No roll-off necessary. Michael Tucker is at plus 127. As is Jeff Suma, both bowling on this squad. Michael Calvin. Right here on our featured pair. Needs every bit of it. He is at plus 124, and he knows it. Shavonic is at plus 112, and Bauer is at plus 111. I feel that's as deep as we're going to go. We're trying to track these guys down on our live scoring. David Tyrell down on 27 and 8. Suma on 31 and 32. Front 7 for Stoney Baker. He's looking to lock his place in there. 33 and 34. Manzella down on 35 and 6. 3-bagger, 9-dash, strike. He is plus 140. Hoping, I'm sure at this point, that that single pin miss does not come back to haunt him. Tony Rodriguez, we saw him earlier having an awesome day. Very nice to see that. Nice gentleman looking for some redemption after finishing 6th last year, getting knocked out in the shootout round. John Shavonic down on 39 and 40. Gonna need a huge game. Chris Keene, 45 and 6, looking to hold his place. Darrell Bauer down on 47 and 48. Tucker, 51 and 52. All right. Michael Galvin needing to find a way to carry here on 19 and 20. Running out of time. Plus 124. With 1 to go, 16 out of the cut. Michael Calvin, the carry issues continue here. 4 9 counts in 5 frames. That is just not going to get it done. Jeff Suma down on 31 and 2, plus 127, going at Dutch 200 pace. Got to find a way to double to have a chance here. Stoney Baker will not shoot 300. Can get to 279. Already guaranteed his spot. He's at plus 154 in the number. That's only going to catapult him up the standings. Manzella. Best he can get to is 247. And Bruce Hall reporting from the high end. Tucker and Suma not getting the job done. Tony Rodriguez still striking. Again, what a day for that young man. Potential redemption. Shavonic, the best he can do is 223 now. Alright, looks like 300 watts is over. Now it's just a matter of watching scores. All right. So Michael Calvin found a way. He's got one. Now he needs to double up. David Tyrell plus 145, just ahead of the number. Still can shoot 236. Manzella with a split. In the 8th frame. Even if he picks it up, max score drops. Big double there for Calvin, making things exciting here on Bowl TV. Stony Baker finishes with 256 down on the far side. Plus 210, he's in for sure. And Zella can get to 212. Remember, the number didn't change coming into game 15, stayed at 140. There's a tie there. So things definitely can be interesting here. Jeff Suma, no doubles this game. Best he can do is 218. seems like. All the drama happening down on the far side. For Manzella, that was a 4.9 in the 8th frame. Best he can do is 212 again. Tyrell doubles up. 236 still possible. He's in the number already. Just would guarantee his place there. Calvin, 3 in a row. Looks very calm and collected at this point. That would be a wreck. Shavonic can get to 202. He opens in the 10th, or splits in the 10th, so he is out, crossing him off. 47 and 8. Daryl Bauer still striking, trying to make a move. He can get to 249. Will it be enough though? Chris Keene is on 280 pace going into the 10th, so he's good. Nice comeback for him. Tyrell making things interesting on 27 and 8. Splits into 10th. 200 even, so he stays at plus 145. Calvin can shoot 221 or better. He'll go around Tyrell. Down on 51 and 2, Mike Tucker, who is just outside the number. Best he can get to is 204. That would be 131 over. Best Manzella can do now, he can break the tie with a spare here. Of course, rotates out so quickly. Manzella 201. So he breaks that tie, which means a tie for now 64th place. Michael Calvin, it's on his shoulders right now. He can finish out here and get past Manzella. Manzella could be the guy. One more shot. And the 10-pin again. Max score 227. That would be more than enough. If he doesn't strike out. So he spares here. He would have to strike on the first shot in the 10th. Strike spare. He would tie Manzella. Got to have this first. Got to have the first strike. So that fill ball strike, or that spare for Manzella, huge. So a lot of lanes getting finished. 47-8. Daryl Bauer still striking, but can he get enough? Let's see. 249. Absolutely, he can get enough. Chris Keene working on 280 this game. He's already in the number and is going to jump up way high. That's the scientific term, way high. Here's Calvin, basically a must-strike situation. If he shoots 217, it would have to be strike spare. He would tie Manzella. Double, he goes around. Anything less than a strike on this shot, and he is probably going to be out. Definitely going to be out, sorry. And he gets the first one. Bauer shoots 235 to make things very interesting. It's plus 146 now. So he goes back into the number. That pushes Manzella out. Huge shot here, Michael Calvin. Game 15, 10th frame. Can't get the 4 out. All right, everybody doing the math. Live scoring pretty much done. That's just a guessing game at this point. So he picks that up, 217. He goes to plus 141 as well. So nothing Michael Tucker can do. He is out. Calvin's at 141. Bauer 146. So we'll watch our final shots here. We'll get to our standings. So 145, that was 60th place. There's a two-way tie there. So Tyrell stays in the number at 145. Forkel was at 142, he was set. Contreras was at 140, so we had the three-way tie for 140. So then Manzella breaks that tie, goes into 63rd by himself, but Calvin jumps in at plus 141. So now those guys.
And Bauer jumped in at 235.
And Bauer,
Shot
so
235, so he's at
146.
146.
So that would make 141 the number. All right, so Bauer goes in. The 140s go to 64th, but then they're out.
Calvin jumped in. Does that push?
Right. So 146. The 140s are out. Calvin and Manzella are tied at 141. All right. So we'll give 60th to Bauer. Plus 146. Then we got a pair of 145s.
Forkel at 142. There's
So
no
then,
in between, I don't think.
Tyrell plus 145. And then Forkel plus 142. So that leaves 64th. We have a tie. Unofficially, Manzella and Calvin. So that 10th frame huge for both of them, really. You said Manzella had a single pin to pick up.
Yeah, he had a 6-pin. He strikes in the 9th and 10th after opening in the 8th with a 4-9 split. Leaves a 6-pin and makes it for 201.
Right, and then similar situation down here. Calvin in a must-strike situation, needed the first hit at least, and then a spare to tie Calvin. So obviously if he gets both of them, then he goes in, he's the number. And he left a 4-pin, picked it up. Big pin there, as they were saying all around here. So now we patiently wait. Unofficially, I feel you agree looking at the numbers.
It looks that way. Darryl Bauer, 99 in the 5th, punches to the 10th. Goes 7 out, but shoots 236 to make the number after shooting 180 last game.
All right,
Huge
well,
performance by Darryl.
it's always pretty exciting when it comes down to this. But folks, right there in Bowl TV land, we're going to wait now for the number. Unofficially, by our calculations, we have a tie for the 64th position. I'm going to go check and see what pair the roll-off would be on. I would imagine, hopefully, 19 and 20 or 21 and 2 if we're planning ahead. But it also would have to take into consideration it had to be a pair that either both guys or neither guy bowled on, or I'm not sure exactly how the rule works. But I'm going to go check on that. I'm going to change our screen here to let you all know what's going on and anybody who has any questions along the way. There you have it. We're awaiting the cut number. So, Bruce, we appreciate the number running and all the help, and definitely hang out. If there's a roll-off to happen, we'll have to talk about what's going on. And
Will do.
This is it. 15 games of qualifying come down to this, and this is where it gets exciting.
Comes down to one shot, one single pin spare after 15 games can make it or lose it for you.
All right. Well, I'm going to go do that. We'll be right back, folks. Hang tight.
B squad bowlers, you can pick up racket and side pot money at this time. Again, B squad bowlers, racket money is ready to be collected.
Yeah. Well, good seeing you. Good luck to you next week.
All right, folks, we are awaiting the official number, but just to let you know that we unofficially do have the tie at 141. Michael Calvin and Manzella. So it's going to have to be a roll-off on a pair that neither competitor bowled on. So right now it looks like that pair is going to be 23 and 4. So we're going to have to move the cameras. We'll give you a little bit of a different look here as we move the cameras. We do appreciate your patience, and we should have that coming up here in just a few minutes. So just hold on a little bit tight, and we'll be right back with you here very shortly.
All right, bowling fans, our scores are official here. We have a tie for 64th place, plus 141, Michael Calvin and Johnny Manzella. This is an immediate one-game roll-off. Johnny Manzella, Michael Calvin, please see me on 23 and 24. The roll-off folks will be over here. Grab a seat. We'll get moving.
TN bowlers from B Squad, if you have not picked up bracket money, you can do so at this time with Buddy or myself. The tables near the escalator. Once again, B Squad, you can pick up bracket money at this time.
All right, folks, just to update you on what's happening here. Right now you're watching the warm-up here between Mr. Manzella and Michael Calvin. They tied for the 64th position in the bracket. There's going to be a one-game roll-off. We've got some sweet 80s music. The final countdown happening here. My name is Matt Canizaro alongside Bruce Hall here for the roll-off coming up in 5 minutes and 42 seconds. They're getting 10 minutes of practice here on our featured pair-ish. We've selected a pair that neither one bowled on today. And then we will be underway very shortly. We appreciate your patience. Again, roll off for the final spot in the double elimination match play bracket here at the 2018 USBC Senior Masters. Folks, we'll be back here with you in 5 minutes. Hang tight. Enjoy the soundtrack.
will be eliminated from the tournament. Pick out your favorite player, chair one. Johnny, when you're ready, you may begin. Bowling pins up with a great setup. Let's hear it. Come on. All right, Johnny, come on.
All right, folks, showtime here for the one-game roll-off at the 2018 USBC Senior Masters. My name is Matt Canizaro, once again here on Bowl TV. We're live at Sam's Town Bowling Center. And beside me is Bruce Hall, competitor these last 2 weeks at the Super Senior Classic and the Senior Masters this week. He was running scores for us late in the block and was able to help figure out what the number was going to be. We were correct, which always is cool. And now these two gentlemen have proven, and I say right before that, how important spare shooting can be, as both converted single pins in their final frames to get to this point to secure the roll-off. We did have a couple bowlers at plus 140 coming into the final game. Manzella actually was one of them. There's a three-way tie. Johnny Manzella, sorry, you guys don't have the scoreboards now. Johnny Manzella is one competitor. Mike Calvin is the other. We'll go back and forth to the scoreboard during the match. But Manzella was in a three-way tie for the last spot going into the last game. Shot 201, but had to pick up a 6-pin in his final frame to set the number at 141. And then Calvin had to step up in his 10th frame. Absolutely needed the first strike to mathematically stay in it. A double would have gotten him the spot, but he got a 9-count left, a 4-pin on his second shot. Converted the 4-pin to force the tie, and now here we are. Michael Calvin up on 23 and 24. We've chosen this pair because neither gentleman bowled there today. And it's pretty simple. The other two featured pairs. Ooh, almost an 8-10 there on 23. The featured pairs 19 and 20, 21 and 22. They each hit one time, so those are out of play. And 23 and 4 was the closest one that neither guy bowled on. So now that you're all caught up, and I still have some breath left, this is what it's all about, Bruce Hall.
I actually crossed with David Chu, who's one of the 140s, and he shot 192 his last game. David worked hard on the fresh. We bowled C squad, and we both crossed on the fresh today, and he struggled a little bit, but had a great week and just couldn't put that last pin together. And Johnny actually did strike in his first shot in the 10th to put him back into it after splitting in the 8th frame. He left a 4-9, strikes in the 9th and 10th, then leaves that 6-pin and makes it to get to his 141. So,
all right, so you got a quick look at the scoreboard there. We'll go back to it here every couple of frames. Again, we're on the fly, moving some cameras, and I think we did a pretty all right job getting a good shot here. You can see the guys, you can see the ball, the pins, all the important stuff in bowling. We'll give you the scoreboard shot. But right now, Manzella down 11 pins after the open in the first frame. Again, a lot happened this week. 15 games of qualifying over 3 days on this 41-foot oil pattern, and 1 pin anywhere in those 15 games, whether it be count or a chop spare or any spare or something not falling, or a lot of what ifs on where that 1 pin could have come from. But luckily, at least at this point, they both still have a chance to make that 64-person bracket.
bowling for your tournament life. Life around the cut line. Great shot by Johnny there.
So 272 competitors did bowl 15 games over the 3 days. We're cutting the field to the top 64 at 63, plus our defending champion Walter Ray Williams Jr. And the rest of the 64 will go on to the match play bracket. 3-game matches starting tomorrow, all pinfall drops. So a whole different world. These guys will, again, whoever wins this match will be number 64. We'll take on our top seed, James Campbell of Clearwater, Florida, who averaged nearly 240. But once we get here tomorrow morning, and a Brooklyn strike there for Calvin, tomorrow morning all pins drop. So it'll be one of these gentlemen against James Campbell on a fresh pair of lanes, and they'll have at it. So those few hundred pins between them, 400 plus, irrelevant at that point.
And anything can happen, as I found out last year. I bowled Bob Learn. Last year, actually, the cut was 145. I know this because I was 147. Put me at 63rd, and I drew Bob Learn and was bowling right next to Brian Voss bowling Parker Bone. And Voss is the number at 64th, and Parker Bone is first, and Voss shoots 780 at him. So anything can happen in the match play. Great shot there by Calvin to capitalize on Brooklyn. I watched these guys warm up. They're both playing right around fourth arrow here on the double burn.
Quick look at the scoreboard there. As you can see, 11 pins, but the double, huge there for Calvin. Put the pressure on Manzella. Now going into the fourth frame. Again, this is just a one-game match, whereas match play the rest of the way will be 3-game pinfall totals to determine the winners. Double elimination, so it's a long couple of days of matches, especially if, in the case of our number 1 seed last year, Parker Bone, you get bounced to the elimination bracket first round. If you're going to make a run, definitely a long, long way to go. But the goal, of course, to stay unbeaten and bowl 6 matches and get a chance to bowl for the title.
Manzella, an early hole here, barely makes that 4-7. Down 21 now.
Now, Calvin easily could have bowled a much better game than 217. He was drilling the pocket early in the game, couldn't throw a double, but he made his spares. So it looked like, when that double came, that was clutch, and then followed it up with another ring 10 pin. But definitely the spare shooting, at least that game, kept in it. Doesn't mean that spare shooting got him to that point, but spare shooting and count. So we see there now Manzella losing count on that shot, 7 on the spare. So all very important, and all easily could have been the difference one way or the other this week.
They hold sweepers here around these events, and Calvin won one of the sweepers with back-to-back 300 games.
Okay, I believe it was 828 was his 3-game series.
That's just sick.
And funny story about that. I don't know if it's funny or it's just a story because I know a lot of stuff. But back in the 2005 regular Masters, Mike Scroggins at Bolero Lanes in Milwaukee shot 858 to win the pre-event sweeper, and went on to win the 2005 Masters Championship. So
I guess he had a look. I don't know what they did back then, but I know here the sweepers patterns are not the tournament patterns.
Correct.
I don't know what they did back then.
No, definitely was not the tournament pattern. But it had to be great for the confidence, but then the tie in there. So we'll see. Is Michael Calvin going to take down first Johnny Manzella, and then our number 1 seed James Campbell, and then roll his way to the Masters title here in 2018 at Samstown? Who knows?
You never know in match play. And on the fresh, here these guys are on the double burn +1, and you never know who has the more comfortable look on the fresh versus the burn as you move across the house.
All right, let's take a look up top now at the scoreboard before Calvin throws his next shot. Before today, these gentlemen each had a 1 in 272 chance of winning the Senior Masters, and now one of them will have a 1 in 64 chance of getting it done. So the odds are getting better every game.
To lay off, maybe split, might give some back here. Yeah, I was talking to a lot of the guys as they crossed the house, and of course I bowled last week and this week, people reported a lot more changes in the lanes as they move from pair to pair. And I think, obviously the double burn with the rev rates and the regular seniors as opposed to the supers. And I think the pattern, with 29 mils of oil, great shot by Calvin there, picking up the baby split, keeping his 21-pin lead. And I think with the 29 mils of oil, you saw the lanes break down differently depending on who was ahead of you. So you would go to different pairs to pairs, and some guys would be carving 10 or 12 or 13 and 15, wherever it may be, and then you'd all of a sudden see a reaction you didn't expect. So you saw guys making big moves from pair to pair.
Right.
Trouble.
Johnny Manzella is going to need to make a big move here pretty quick. Definitely at a disadvantage, just 1 strike on the board. Calvin throwing much better shots, picked up the baby split, keep the momentum going. And it just worked out that both these guys bowled on the B squad. So they saw the same everything each day of the event. They finished on the double burn. So they're both loose. They're both coming off of essentially these not these exact lanes, but the squad that was just bowled. And that open frame could be the undoing here for Manzella.
He still has 211 in the wood with Calvin at on a 207 pace, but Manzella in a must-strike situation now.
Now, the B squad bowled middle of the day on the burn first, and then they came back and bowled the fresh yesterday, and then a double burn today. On opening day, Manzella shot 1039, Calvin 1019, and then yesterday, Manzella had 1066, Calvin had 1082, and then today, they were obviously right there as well. So we'll take a look at the scoreboard one more time and see advantage Calvin at this point. Can be up 36 pins.
Yeah, it didn't occur to me that there's only 1 out of 3 chances these guys coming off the same squad. That's right.
So definitely being loose and ready. Evens up.
Good beat shot, breaks up the split.
So best Manzella can do 211. And for Calvin spare here, we still get to 235. So sizable advantage with a couple frames to go. But number one, make the spare. And as he was on the approach, phone rings, and it's super quiet in here. Kind of the same atmosphere we'll have on Sunday for our championship round. Coming up here live on Bowl TV, 10 a.m. local time, 1 p.m. Eastern. Made a great step ladder last year. Hall of Famers. Norm Duke shot 8-17 to get there, to get the number 3 seed. And of course, Andy Nyer nearly ran the ladder. Came up a little bit short against Walter Ray in the championship match, but it was a doozy for sure. We've had some great step ladders the last few years. Another great shot there by Calvin. 10 won't go. So still an advantage, but keeping it interesting.
Thought he might get that when he got through that pretty good. Put it right on his target.
So that now drops his max score with a spare here to 224. Take a look at the scoreboard one more time.
This will tell the story. Manzella must strike.
This will happen throughout the weekend, folks. Just want to let you know that we won't always have a match, perhaps. So we'll turn the cameras when we can, and each round. So there's a look at the scores. But yes, Manzella must strike. And that is likely going to do it there.
Oh, lights out for Manzella.
I'm going to claim math as the answer to that one. But what a run. And still looking at these two guys, I actually just realized we're at the senior masters. Neither one of them looks 50 years old. But here we are.
Well, a lot of guys threw it a lot harder with a lot more turn than last week, but that's what you expect here. I watch Parker. I still want to see his ID.
And then each year, some of the superstars out there on the PBA Tour turning 50, coming out here, and definitely some faces missing this week. Mike Edwards, a past champion, didn't see him. Tom Baker, I understand, is
injured,
injured,
believe, yep.
So he did not bowl. He's a 2-time winner.
Yep.
So Manzella, spare here. Best he can do is 169, so Calvin's going to be your winner. Just has to show up here, keep the ball in the lane. He will advance to take on the number 1 seed, James Campbell, who averaged 238 to get to plus 571, and these guys tied at plus 141. But again, none of that matters. We're going even Steven tomorrow morning.
You know, it was great to see Brian Leclerc back this week because he was having some serious knee trouble. And he got a brace from his friend Don Harrington, and boy, he looked as good as new. As every bit the player of the year he was last year, because I bowled against him in his knee was just about ready to give out in Farmingdale, Long Island. But he came back and qualified second at plus 527.
Well, and his reward, I believe, unofficially, is that he gets to take on PBA champion Eric Forkel in the first match
right.
there. The
That's
2
right,
versus
142.
63.
Yeah. Mark Mazzula from California with a big block, making it plus 186 his last day to go plus 157. Mark just missed the show in Brentwood 2 weeks ago.
All right, so these two gentlemen averaging 209 to tie for the 64th position. Almost 30 pins less than our number 1 seed, but
Fans, how about a nice round of applause for Michael Calvin, Johnny Manziel?
all even.
Calvin will advance 204. He'll advance to our double elimination match play tomorrow morning. That portion of the event will begin at 9 a.m. Congratulations to all 64. We'll see you in the morning.
All right, so we'll await our final score here. Take a look up at the scoreboard now. 155 for Manziel, but to be in that position, very cool, definitely.
Great run for Johnny and great clutch play at the end of the qualifying.
All right, folks. Well, there's not much more we can say other than please join us tomorrow morning or afternoon, noon Eastern, for the first half of the match play bracket. The left side will hit the lanes, followed by the right side on a fresh oil pattern. They're going to take an oil break. That'll be at 2:30 Eastern. So we'll see you at high noon. Looking forward to it. Number 1 seed, James Campbell, taking on the winner of our roll-off, Michael Calvin. And the rest of the bracket will be filled in online this evening. You can find that at bowl.com/seniormasters, along with all of the qualifying scores from along the way. We do appreciate everybody who joined us throughout qualifying this week. We're down to 64 here at the 2018 Senior Masters in Las Vegas. Samstown is the backdrop, and we'll have some great 3-game matches, I'm sure, tomorrow. Some big scores, a lot of fun. So we hope to see you here again, high noon Eastern, here on Bowl TV. Folks, my name is Matt Canizaro. Bruce Hall, appreciate all of your help today, and I'm sure we'll see you again throughout match play.
Hope so. Great to be here. Thank you.
All right, folks, that is the news for now, and we'll see you on the lanes.